I had completely forgotten that when I gave birth to Dawn, legally, Shane had rights to her as well, unless I took her away from him through the court system. Being unemployed and living with my parents, it was highly unlikely that the courts would rule in my favor, especially considering everything Shane had, and the last thing I wanted was for him to take her away from me. Even though I was afraid that he might try as soon as he found out, I knew it was better to take the risk than let him fight for her out of spite. I suppose I should figure out how I'm going to contact him, I said as we made our way into the kitchen. Serving up our plates, I continued. You think his number is still the same? Behind me, I heard a deep chuckle. Why don't you ask him yourself? Asked the very familiar voice, and I felt my heart drop as I turned to look at the speaker. Of course, it was Shane, standing behind me with an empty plate in hand, staring down at me with his intense, icy blue eyes. The memory of when those eyes would make me melt like a popsicle in the middle of summer flooded my mind, and I had to do everything I could to try to conceal the blush in the dim light of the kitchen. Beside me, Janet grinned ear to ear and turned to face me. I guess now is a better time than any, she said as she gave a small wave. I'll be outside if you need anything. Turning her attention back toward Shane, she gave him a curt nod. You better not break her heart again. Otherwise, I'll make sure Isaac takes care of you. With that, she left the room and went to sit down under the sun umbrella in the backyard, leaving me alone with Shane. Well, that was frightening, he said as he turned to smile at me. I didn't mean to startle you, but Janet needs to lighten up. At first, I couldn't find the words to say thanks to the way my heart was beating in my chest, rapidly trying to escape before I could tell him the news. Despite the fact that Janet had convinced me it was a good idea to tell him about Dawn, I couldn't bring myself to at that exact moment. My courage had fled me faster than I expected, and I was left trembling in place as I stared up at him. Seeming to grow uncomfortable by my silence, Shane continued. It's been a while, he commented as he gave a nod of acknowledgement. You look like you've been doing well. Clearing my throat, I nodded in agreement. As do you, I acknowledged as I nodded towards the kitchen table. I should probably go sit down and eat. Already I could feel my blood sugar dropping, and I knew that if I didn't eat anything soon, I was going to get sick. Mind if I join you? He asked as he grabbed a couple slices of pizza from the nearest box. I don't know about you, but I'd like to catch up sometime. It's been too long, and I feel like we didn't ever discuss what happened between us properly. Confusion washed over me as I stared at him a moment, trying to determine if he was serious or not. Did he already know about Dawn? Was he giving me a chance to tell him face to face before he tried mentioning it? Or was he up to something else? Taking a deep breath, I nodded my head in response. I don't mind, I agreed. I think we do need to have a chat about something, but that's for a different occasion. He looked as confused as I felt as he stared at me for a moment. What's that supposed to mean? He asked. Knowing that I wasn't going to be able to bring myself to tell him here, especially since I had already lied to the other littles, I shook my head. What's your work schedule like for the rest of the week? I asked. I think this is something we'd be better off discussing alone and in private.